Welcome back again. It's another update on how things are going. I got some parts finally this week and got most of the distributor back together. Got new points, condenser, got new rotor. Fits a lot better than the old one, and this one here even is molded on there, removed to oil. So I gotten some felt this week too, and I made some dust seals there. I got that one there oiled up and installed. Got the new springs made for the Advance, so those are installed as well. So hopefully they'll work properly, I guess. I ain't going to say that they're calibrated right, but at least it's better than having a broken one in there. And so everything there is moving freely. Got the points set, and even got to try a different tool here. I didn't realize what it was until last weekend. I'd seen this in one of the drawers here a while back when I'd gone through stuff, and never really knew what this was for. I kind of had a suspicion it was for probably spring, but I didn't really know where the application was, just because it's measured in ounces, and you can measure either way, so you can push or pull with this, and hence why it's got a hook on the end. But last weekend when I was looking through the internet stuff on distributor things, and I seen one similar to this. It was a Sun brand. This one's international, and it's for measuring that spring tension on the points. So that spring that wraps around here for the points, you hook that right at the breaker point, and you push or pull whichever way you gotta. And this one here I had to push, and when it just opens, that's where your reading is. And so as you push, and it's got the little follower needle there, so when you get to where you need to be and you let off, and the needle stays where the highest mark was. And so right now I got this one set at about 36, which is according to the spec just a little higher than what the high spec is, but I think we'll be okay. I don't want to mess around too much with it. It was certainly a lot higher than that when I first started. It was like 45 before. So yeah, I had to do a lot of monkeying around getting the points lined up the way they're supposed to, so that the contacts are pretty close to the middle, and just kind of get everything back in shape so nothing's in contact, everything's tight, Advance is moving, springs are all installed, and so hopefully it'll work good. And but just I was just kind of fascinated by this little tool here though, and I found in one of the old service books some information on that, and this is one of them that was on the shelf that everybody knows where the books were. The old Motors Auto Repair Manual, 1956. And as I was reading, they talk about, in fact, they're doing a little spring scale on this one here for measuring that spring on the point gap. But breaker arm spring tension is extremely important. If the tension is too great, the arm will bounce, causing an interruption in the current in the coil and missing in the engine. If the spring tension is not sufficient, the rubbing block will not follow the cam, causing a variation in the cam angle. Spring tension should always be set to the high limit given in the distributor specifications table, as it will be reduced as the rubbing block wears. Yeah, that's right. So as the rubbing block wears there, the spring tension will loosen. So you want to go to the high spec, which I did find the spec for this Lucas distributor, which is 28 to 34, and I'm at, like I said, about 36. So I think I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to push my luck trying to get it right on. Just because when I start monkeying around, I'm going to change other things on there again, which I don't want to do. But I found that pretty interesting myself. Kind of a bit of an obsolete tool anymore, I think, nowadays, unless you still monkey with old point ignition again. But the international distributors don't seem to have that spec. They just, I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked all over. As far as the tractors go, in the trucks, in the truck books of these, I found the specs for those, but not on the tractors. They just got the advance at the different RPMs here, so that's all I could find on that. There might be a spec somewhere, but it is what it is, I guess. And I think the Sun manufacturer, they might have had more specs available for things like that. So yeah, I found that kind of interesting. And I got some felt this week too. I got the different thicknesses. This one's 1/4 inch. This is the F5 grade, and it was on clearance from Granger, so well, fine. And I was able to make the dust seal for the inside there, and then the one that's in the end of the cam and the distributor there for where it gets oiled. And that one there, this one here, I had a tough time getting made. As you can see, I had to make several attempts. But the outside diameter was, this is my gasket punch set, and the outside diameter was 7/8, and so I would knock one out, and then the inside was 5/8, which that was right on with the shaft, but the inside here is just under 7/8, so if I shoved that in there, it was too tight, so I had to trim that. And it's not easy to trim that 1/4 inch felt, and the only thing I found work was my little side cutters and just nibble away at it, and then I got it so it fit pretty good. And then I just put my socket, which is 5/8 on the outside, and put that in there and let it just sit a while until that seal would form to that, and then I can put a little oil in that, and it'll have hardly any resistance at all on the cam. So that's going to work pretty good. And but as far as the springs, that was a little bit of a challenge. Had to use my little baby drill bits again with the hand arbor, and ended up taking a piece of brass, turning it down so that I had the inside diameter for the spring, and then I drilled that little hole where this little notch here is. I drilled a hole so that I could put that wire in, and then that would lock that into place, and I would wind this thing around. So I'd hang on to this with the pliers and then just roll this by hand and be able to get a spring. The only thing I didn't take in consideration is that when you let go of it, it would want to unwind just a little bit, so now my inside diameter of the new spring is actually larger than the original. So I didn't take that into consideration, but I think it'll still work. My first attempt, as you can see, the first coil got a little gap in it, but I figured I'd just practice anyway. Second one turned out pretty good. Then my third one there kind of screwed up on the first coil again, and I tried to fix it and kind of squished it too far then. So then I made a third one and got that one to work. So, or I mean fourth one, and so yeah, the second and fourth one attempts are both in the distributor right now, and seems to be working. So we'll see how good that works once we're actually up and running. And but yeah, to actually get the made the same with the same amount of coils, I had to turn this by hand about 14.5 times to get my 12.5 coils, and of course I had to use my little magnifier that Carol thought was so cute in order to be able to count them without getting lost going across that. And so that worked out all right, I guess. And But I did, like I said, I didn't take in consideration about the spring release. That would make the spring diameter a little larger then. But I guess it is what it is for now. But yeah, I got plenty of wire to make spring now. But I made this one out of the 22 thousandths, and then I did get a 24 because it had one of each in there. So we'll see how it goes in case I need to make one of them a 24. So anyway, hope you find this a little interesting, and yeah, we'll go with that, and we'll talk at you later. Bye.